He kissed me goodbye, but his phone stayed face down. That detail burned into my mind as I sat alone at the kitchen table, tracing my fingertip around the rim of my coffee mug. Liam's voice had been smooth that morning, too smooth, as he'd tossed on a jacket and said, "Sophie's just coming by for a few minutes, no big deal." My stomach twisted. Sophie. The name alone sent a pulse through my chest. His ex, the one who still lingered on his social feeds, who still texted occasionally, who had supposedly moved on, but somehow was just visiting our apartment today. I forced a smile, told Liam it was fine, watched him kiss my cheek, and walk out the door. But the knot in my stomach pulled tighter. I sat there, scrolling absently through my phone, trying to shake the unease. My best friend Ella had been warning me for months. "Jenna, you're too trusting," she'd say, her voice fierce on the phone. "He knows exactly how to gaslight you." I'd always defended Liam, always clung to the good moments. But lately those good moments felt thin, stretched, cracked. I sent Ella a text. "Sophie's coming over. Liam says it's just to grab stuff." Her reply came instantly. "Jenna, be careful. Don't let him talk you in circles." I swallowed hard, locking my phone, pressing it face down on the table like his. My fingers trembled faintly. I moved to the sink, rinsing a plate that was already clean, needing something to do. The apartment felt too still, too quiet, like it was holding its breath. I stared at the clock, counting down the minutes until Sophie would arrive. Until I would have to sit here, pretending to be cool, pretending to be secure. My heart thudded louder. I hated that I was this anxious, this unsettled. I'd always told myself I was a confident girlfriend, someone who didn't need to snoop, who trusted her partner. But something about today, the way Liam avoided eye contact, the way his smile didn't reach his eyes, left me cold. I replayed our conversation from the night before, the little slip he'd made when he mentioned Sophie's name too casually, the way he'd backtracked quickly, smoothing it over. He lied before, a small voice whispered. Why wouldn't he lie now? I sat back down, gripping the edge of the table, tapping my foot nervously. Maybe it was nothing. Maybe I was overreacting. But deep down, I knew today mattered. Today would reveal something I wasn't ready to face. The knock came. Light. Familiar. Too familiar. Liam's voice floated through the hallway, playful, eager. "Come in." My throat tightened. I stayed frozen in the kitchen, staring at the doorway, listening to the sound of footsteps, laughter, the soft click of the front door closing. I closed my eyes, breathing shallowly. I wasn't sure if I should walk out and greet her or stay hidden or act busy. My chest burned with nervous energy, my hands shaking slightly. I wanted to trust him. I wanted to believe him. But the way his voice dropped when he spoke to her, the softness in his tone, made something inside me twist sharply. I pressed my palm flat against the table, steadying myself. I wasn't imagining this. I wasn't paranoid. I was paying attention. And then I heard it. Sophie's voice, light and teasing, floating down the hallway. "You always were my favorite, baby." My heart stopped. A girlfriend like me should be understanding, right? That's what I kept whispering to myself, sitting frozen at the kitchen table, my chest tight. My breath caught painfully in my throat. Sophie's voice echoed in my ears, that soft, playful, baby, slicing through every excuse I had built, every defense I had clung to. But still, I wanted to believe there was an explanation. I gripped my coffee mug tightly, feeling the ceramic bite into my palms, grounding myself. Liam wouldn't do this to me. He couldn't. We had history. We had plans. We had love, didn't we? My heart pounded. My stomach flipped. but my mind raced to fill in the blanks. Maybe Sophie was just teasing. Maybe Liam was brushing her off, right now. I heard their muffled laughter from down the hall, the soft thud of footsteps, the creak of the bedroom door. My fingers trembled violently. I fumbled for my phone, opening a new message to Ella, but I couldn't bring myself to type. What would I even say? That I was hiding in my own kitchen while my boyfriend flirted with his ex 2 rooms away. I stood up shakily, pacing the small space, my feet making faint scuffs on the hardwood floor. I could confront them. I could march down that hallway right now and demand answers. But the thought made my knees buckle. I wasn't ready. I wasn't strong enough. Not yet. The minutes dragged painfully, each second stretching longer, thicker, heavier. I pressed my hand over my mouth, fighting the rising tide of panic. I wanted to believe him. I wanted to trust the man I had, spent years defending, the man who had sworn to me that Sophie was just the past. But under the surface, a crack was forming. Sharp, undeniable, jagged. I closed my eyes tightly, feeling the sting of tears building, the heat blooming behind my eyelids. I told myself to breathe, to hold on, to give him the benefit of the doubt. Their voices floated closer, Liam's low laugh, Sophie's soft giggle. My stomach churned. I wrapped my arms tightly around myself, rocking slightly, whispering over and over. He wouldn't do this. He wouldn't do this. He loves me. But each time I said it, the words felt thinner, emptier. I stared at the kitchen doorway, at the narrow hall beyond it, at the invisible line between the woman I had been and the woman I was about to become. My hands shook violently, my heart racing faster, my breath coming in short, sharp gasps. I texted Ella with trembling fingers. "They're in the bedroom. I don't know what to do." She replied instantly. "You know what to do, Jenna. Open your eyes." My knees buckled slightly. I gripped the edge of the counter, anchoring myself. This wasn't just suspicion anymore. This was discovery. And once you hear the truth, you can't unhear it. He lied, and she proved it with one word. I stood frozen in the kitchen, my fingers gripping the counter so tightly my knuckles ached, Sophie's voice echoing in my head. "Baby." My chest squeezed painfully, my breath hitching, the blood roaring in my ears. Liam's laugh followed, low, soft, familiar, the same laugh he used with me. I wanted to scream. I wanted to rush down the hallway, tear open the door, and demand answers. But my body wouldn't move. My legs trembled, my heart pounded, my throat locked tight. I slid down slowly, crouching on the floor, pressing my forehead to my knees, trying to steady my shaking breath. This wasn't suspicion anymore. This wasn't me overthinking or being insecure or reading too much into things like Liam always said. This was real. This was betrayal, raw and sharp, slicing through every defense I had built. My phone buzzed softly in my lap. Ella. "Jenna, you okay? I'm outside if you need me." My fingers trembled as I typed back. "I can't move. I can't breathe." She responded instantly. "Baby, you don't have to go through this alone. I'm here." Tears blurred my vision. I pressed my fists to my mouth, trying to hold back the sound, but a broken sob escaped anyway. My body shook, racked with the force of heartbreak that hit me like a physical blow. This wasn't love. This was exposure. I thought back to the little lies, the half-truths, the long work hours, the late-night texts. Every time I had asked, every time I had voiced concern, Liam had brushed it away, smiling, kissing my forehead, whispering, "You know you're my only one, right?" He lied, and I believed him. Another soft laugh floated down the hallway, Sophie's voice wrapping around it like silk. My stomach lurched. I wrapped my arms tighter around myself, rocking slightly, feeling the world tilt under my feet. I had loved him. I had given him everything, and he had been handing his heart to someone else all along. This wasn't heartbreak. This was exposure. I sat crumpled on the kitchen floor, my forehead pressed against my knees, my breath coming in ragged, shallow pulls. The world tilted around me, sounds blurring, my body shaking as the full weight of betrayal settled deep into my chest. I had believed in us. I had defended him to everyone, especially Ella, who had seen the cracks long before I could face them. I had convinced myself Liam loved me, that Sophie was just a shadow in the past. But now that shadow stood laughing in our bedroom, calling him baby. I rocked slightly, pressing my hands tightly over my mouth, trying to stop the sobs from bursting out. My tears soaked the sleeves of my sweater. My stomach twisted painfully, my heart thudding hard and broken. I felt like I was falling, free falling through every memory we'd ever shared. I remembered the promises, the whispered apologies, the late-night confessions, the lazy mornings wrapped in sheets. Every touch, every word, every smile now felt poisoned, stained, crumbling into lies. My throat closed tightly, a wave of nausea rolling through me. My phone buzzed again. Ella. I'm outside. Please let me in. I squeezed my eyes shut, shaking my head even though she couldn't see me. I couldn't let her see me like this, crumpled, destroyed, shattered on the kitchen floor. I thought about Liam's eyes, the way they'd softened when he swore he loved me, the way they'd darkened when he deflected my questions. He lied, over and over, and I clung to every word like it was a lifeline. I wiped my face roughly, drawing in a shaky breath. My reflection flickered faintly in the oven door. Red eyes, blotchy cheeks, trembling lips. I barely recognized the woman staring back at me. She looked like a stranger. I pressed my hand flat against the cool floor, feeling its solidness, grounding myself. I whispered softly, "You have to stand up, Jenna. You have to stand up." My body trembled violently, but I forced myself upright, gripping the counter, steadying my legs. Outside, Ella's car headlights cut faint beams across the window, a silent reminder that I wasn't alone, that I didn't have to stay here, in this wreckage, in this collapse. My heart ached fiercely, but under the pain, a new edge started to flicker. Rage. Because Liam had chosen to break me. But I could choose what came next. They underestimated the woman who waited in the kitchen. That thought flickered like a match inside me as I stood, gripping the counter with both hands, my heart still pounding, but now mixed with something sharper than heartbreak. Anger. For years, Liam had been painting himself as the good guy, the patient boyfriend, the charming partner, the man who tolerated my insecurities with a smile. But it was all an act, a manipulation, a long, slow gaslighting that chipped away at my confidence. I saw it now, crystal clear. My fingers tightened on the edge of the counter, nails biting into the wood. The sounds from the bedroom floated faintly, down the hall. Sophie's laughter, Liam's low voice, the creak of the mattress I had shared with him just last night. My stomach flipped, but I stayed standing. Ella's text buzzed softly again. "I'm still here. We can leave whenever you're ready." I breathed out slowly, wiping my face with trembling hands, my tears drying into salty streaks. I wasn't ready to leave. Not yet. I walked slowly to the front door, locking it quietly, calmly. My breath came in even, measured pulls now. No more shaking, no more falling apart. My mind sharpened with every step I took. I knew where the spare keys were. I knew where Liam's passwords were. I knew exactly how to collect what I needed. I slipped into the office, gathering the important documents, the financial files, the tiny pieces of proof I had ignored for too long. I took photos with my phone, saved them quietly, carefully. My hands didn't tremble now. They were steady, purposeful. He thought I would break. He thought I would collapse, that I would forgive, that I would cry and beg and cling. But tonight, I saw the truth, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. That was the moment everything changed. I paused by the bedroom door, hearing Sophie's soft giggle, Liam's muffled laugh. I smiled faintly, the sharp edge of it curling through my chest. Let them have their moment, I thought. They had no idea what was waiting on the other side of this door. Because tonight, I wasn't the girlfriend waiting in the kitchen. I was the woman taking her life back. That was the moment everything changed. As I stood outside the bedroom door, I realized I wasn't the girl who would crumble anymore. I was the woman ready to expose the truth, to reclaim every piece of myself Liam had chipped away. My heart still hurt, my chest still ached, but under the pain was a rising clarity, cold, sharp, undeniable. I stepped back quietly, slipping into the living room. My phone lit up with another text from Ella. I'm still outside. Jenna, please come out. I exhaled softly, typing back. Give me 5 more minutes. I wasn't done. Not yet. I opened Liam's laptop, the one he had always kept password protected. But he was careless. He had used the same password for years. My fingers flew across the keyboard, my pulse racing as I pulled up messages, photos, hidden folders, and there it was. The texts between him and Sophie. Not just recent, but stretching back months. Flirty messages, secret meetups, confessions he had never given me. My stomach clenched, my throat burned, but I kept going. I needed to see it all. I needed the full truth. I found the hotel receipts, the hidden bank transfers, the overlapping dates where he had claimed to be working late. Every piece stacked into a pattern so obvious, I wondered how I had ever missed it. But I knew how. He lied, and I wanted to believe him. I took photo after photo, saving every piece of evidence, every thread of his betrayal. My hands stayed, steady, my heart beat even. My breath came calm. The girl who had sobbed on the kitchen floor was gone. This was the woman rising. Outside, I saw Ella pacing beside her car, her face etched with worry. I gave her a small wave through the window, mouthing almost. She pressed her hands to her chest, nodding hard, her eyes fierce with support. I packed a small bag, just the essentials, and left the keys on the table. I paused for a moment, glancing back at the home we had built, the memories we had shared, the life I thought we were living. My chest tightened, but I straightened my spine, because now I knew the truth, and the truth set me free. I just smiled, because he had no idea I was done. As I zipped up the small overnight bag, I felt the tension release from my shoulders. Not because the pain was gone, but because the choice was finally mine. For so long, Liam had controlled the story, weaving excuses, gaslighting me into silence. But tonight, I held the truth in my hands. I looked around the apartment one last time, my eyes sweeping over the couch where we'd once curled up together, the framed photos on the wall, the shelves lined with books we'd picked out side by side. My chest tightened sharply, but I didn't break. I didn't hesitate. I walked quietly to the front door, unlocked it, and stepped outside. Ella rushed up instantly, her arms wrapping around me in a fierce hug. "Jenna, oh my God," she whispered, her voice shaking. I smiled faintly, pressing my forehead to her shoulder. "I'm okay," I murmured. "I'm really okay." Inside, Liam's voice called faintly from the bedroom. "Jenna, where'd you go, babe?" My throat tightened, not with longing, but with sharp, clear anger. Babe. He still had the nerve to call me that. I pulled back from Ella, gripping her hand tightly. Wait here, I said softly. She blinked in surprise, but nodded. I stepped, back inside, walking calmly to the table, leaving a short note on top of the folder of printed evidence. Just 5 words. I know everything. We're done. As I turned, I heard footsteps approaching, Liam's voice still low, casual. Hey, what's going on? I smiled faintly, the last smile I would ever give him, and walked right. Past him, out the door, down the steps, into the night. He called after me, confused at first. Jenna? Baby? Then sharper. Jenna, where are you going? But I didn't look back. Ella opened the car door, pulling me inside, starting the engine as Liam's voice rose behind us. I glanced once in the rearview mirror, watching him stand stunned in the doorway, his face twisted in shock, betrayal, panic. My lips curved softly. He thought he was playing me, but I was the one walking away free. He thought he was playing me. I walked away free. That sentence echoed softly in my chest as Ella drove us through the quiet streets, the city lights flickering past the windows like small, distant stars. I sat in the passenger seat, my hands folded calmly in my lap, my heart still raw but no longer crushed. Ella reached over, squeezing my knee gently. You okay? She whispered, her eyes flicking quickly between me and the road. I let out a slow breath, pressing my head back against the seat. Yeah, I murmured, voice soft but steady. For the first time in a long time. Yeah. My phone buzzed relentlessly in my bag. Liam's name lighting up the screen, call after call, text after text, desperation pouring through. I smiled, faintly, powering it off with a quiet click, slipping it deep into my purse. That noise no longer belonged in my life. I thought of all the nights I'd stayed up waiting, worrying, second-guessing myself. I thought of all the apologies I'd rehearsed for things I hadn't done, all the times I'd blame myself for the cracks he created. And now? I felt that weight lift, piece by piece, fading into the cold night air. Ella pulled into her driveway, cutting the engine. We sat there in the quiet for a moment, neither of us speaking. Finally, she turned to me, her eyes shining faintly, with unshed tears. You were so strong tonight, Jenna. I smiled softly, reaching over to squeeze her hand. I didn't feel strong, I whispered. But I didn't need to feel it. I just needed to be it. Inside her apartment, I curled, up on the couch with a blanket, watching as she made us tea. Her quiet presence a comfort I hadn't realized I needed so badly. My chest still hurt. My heart still ached. But under the grief was something clean, something new. Freedom. I glanced out the window, staring up at the moon, the stars, the quiet, dark sky. I whispered softly to myself, You survived this, and you're never going back. My eyes burned, but this time, the tears were soft, cleansing, not shattering, because Liam might have thought I'd stay broken. But he didn't realize that the moment I walked away, I became whole again.